Aha! Hope. Hope, yes. A counselor's guide to communication. Man, listen, okay. I said earlier, Amy Landino is like a mentor that she don't even know. I hope I'm gonna tag her in this. Maybe she'll watch it. Hey, Hope is a mentor and she knows it. Okay, this woman I respect so much, and she's known Flipside Mentorship before it was a name, but it was just a thought. You guys might not know this, but I started this because I had already had a passion for like kids. I already had that, but my son was bullied, and that passion turned to fire. Like fire. And I failed so much trying to get this off the ground. I can't tell you. Don't get emotional, Tisha. Don't get emotional. I can't, ugh, okay. I can't tell you. And I'm trying not to get emotional. Let's shake it off, Tisha. Shake it off. How many tears that I have cried over the journey with my son, when he was bullied, what it did to him, putting him back together, coming on like somebody should do something. And this time I think that somebody is me. Like, who can help fortify these kids? Who can infiltrate? Because like, no matter, and I say this all the time, as much as I wanted to protect my son, I couldn't go to school with him. Like, I couldn't go to school. I couldn't put him in a bubble. I can't be there. Like, there's a walk that only he could walk. But I may not be able to walk that walk with him. Other kids at his school walk that same walk. And maybe if I can get other kids to be involved at the flip side, where we're teaching leadership, kindness, values, honor, what to do's, how to handles, all of that other stuff, they can lead the way and they can walk together and they don't have to feel alone because they can walk with each other. I can't walk with them. They can walk with each other. I just want to teach them. I just want to help show them the way. For my own son, I've got two. My youngest, he doesn't start school. It's going to, oh my gosh, 2021, he'll be starting school. I digress. That just hit me. I want it to be a better environment, for both of them, and not just for them, but for all of them, all of the kids and the parents, because I know what it feels like. I know what it feels like. Not gonna cry. I'm not gonna do it. How it feels, the anger, the powerlessness, like the despair when you see your child going through something and you really can't, you can help, but you can't fix it. Like it's something that they have to go through. And hey, I just want to help them get through. If I could, preventative maintenance, right? If I could help with that, that would be my goal. But anyways, I'm sorry for that tangent, guys. I say that all to say I had so many ideas on Flipside Mentorship. I have called to so many people. I've had meetings, and Hope is one of these women that saw the potential from the get-go and has definitely stood by my side as a mentor, as a guiding aid, just encouraging me and being willing to be there. Like, I'm having an event and she reached out to me like, hey, my council wants to be a part of this. We want to promote this. And so I lost my temper a little bit on social media, and she was like, hey, you cannot no longer do that. And like, I thank you for that correction. Like, you're right. If I have to represent, I really have to represent. And needless to say, Hope, this isn't even about your video. Hope, Oh God. Thank you for giving me hope. I hope you like that play on words. Don't get watery-eyed. Okay. We're gonna watch this. I do remember the lesson, but
not doing that, but she had this look on her face. It was immediate. It wasn't long-term immediate. It was an immediate thing. So I said, what's going on? And she says, someone said such and such and such about you. And of course, we both knew it wasn't true, but it hurt her.
Yeah.
And I just began to drill her and just drill her with questions, just drill her, because I went on the defensive mode and went into the defensive mode. And I just began to drill her and drill her. believe she was 12 or 13. And I'll never forget her saying to me, Aunt Hope, do you want me to tell you anything else in the future? And I got it.
Yeah.
Because I was pushing her away.
Yeah.
And she was giving me the information. All I need to do was let her talk, provide a safe place. And don't try to prove anything. Don't try to justify anything. Gather all the information and then address it appropriately.
Yeah.
But she almost shut down on me, but she gave me that cue. She said, Aunt Hope, do you want me to tell you anything else in the future? And as an adult, I understood what that meant.
Yeah.
And so I course corrected really quick. And that is a technique I use today with children.
Okay, y'all, come on. Y'all see what I'm talking about? Y'all see what I'm talking about. Something that she uses to the day, like, yeah, creating a safe place. So important, guys. I actually learned this on flip side from the kids. We were talking about lying and why you shouldn't, and asking them, why they feel. And all of the kids said that, when they lie, it's because they're afraid of whatever the consequences are, like whoever in charge being overly upset in what's going to happen. And that if they knew that it was going to be okay, then they would tell the truth. And so that was something that what Hope said there is true. I've heard it from the kids themselves. We have to create a safe space for them to be able to come and talk, that we can't react when they're coming to us because they need us, because they're bothered. It's very important how we react. Otherwise, they might not come to us again. And then I go back to the conversation with the coach Rocco. Who are they going to if it's not you? So yes, that is something that she said. And I just, again, watching it back now, I'm like, yes, that's very, very true. And I'm glad that she uses that as a learning lesson and a technique now, because it's critical. Okay, so then we must be on Miss Margarita Mesa. Hi. Margarita, I loved speaking to you, just as like a director. Like, first of all, you boss. You are such a boss. But I loved, you were kind of saying the same thing that Christian had said about letting it be a part of like whatever your values are, making it known, making it consistent, like how imperative that is. And your mentor, your biggest lesson a child taught you just flashed in my head. So I am not going to spend a lot of time talking because we're going to watch this, because guys, Also, super valuable lesson. So, hold on. Okay. Let's get into this. And I hope my editing has improved through time, just so you know. It might not be flawless because I'm still learning. And I have you know before we start, I know this is kind of irrelevant, but I had to tell you, like, this was one of my favorite outfits. I feel like I look so cute. Anyways, all right, going on to Miss Margarita. This is a good lesson. I think I told you that, but it is. Yes, ma'am.
So hesitant to delegate to people.
Mm-hmm. And what is the biggest lesson a child taught you?
Well, I've learned a lot of lessons from kids. I would say though, my own children have taught me the biggest lessons, right? And I want to say my older daughter, right? Okay. So I'll give you that lesson in a nutshell was, you know, for our children, we always think we know what's best for them. We always think we kind of can map it out and figure it out for them. And I know here in Miami, like, right, finding the right school, like once they get to middle school and high school, there's a lot of magnet programs, and there's not just your local school, but you can kind of pick between other options. And when my daughter was graduating elementary, there was a couple of options for her. And one of them was like this new arts school, right? It was an arts charter school. And for me, I grew up in New York with like Fame and like that whole Fame, I'm gonna live forever, right? So like I found out about that school and I was like, oh my God, that's my dream. Holy cow, like you're gonna go to this art school. And I pictured the kids dancing in the hallways, and I pictured like, but that was my dream, right? Like, and I remember we'd gone through the whole process. She'd done like the applications for like that school, and there was another school called Young Women's Preparatory that was much more like academic, and they wore a uniform. And I remember we were like days away from the decision, right? And we were driving one day and we were talking about it, and she's like, Mom, I know that's your dream, but this is mine. And I want to go to Young Women's Prep, and like, that's my decision. And it was such a sobering moment for me. I was like, you know what? Every individual walking this earth, whether they're a child, an adult, whatever, has their own vision for themselves.
Yeah.
And it didn't matter that I was her mom and I was an educator and I thought I knew best and all these things. She was quick to like remind me that she had her own vision for herself. Yeah. Even though she was only like, 10 at the time? I mean, she was 10 or 11. I mean, pre-middle school. And I just remember looking at her and I was like, really humbly, like, okay.
Hell, you saying?
All right. And it was all about vision, that. And be okay when someone else tells you that that's what their vision is. Back off. Like, I don't own her. Like, I might have birthed her. Like, right. I don't own her decisions. And so that was super sobering for me.
Yeah. Man, that's such a good one. All right. Yes. It can be easy. I mean, you have like this perfect life pictured for your kids. And when your kids stray off course, like, hey, this is the perfect life over here. But that's your idea of a perfect life, not necessarily their idea. And so you have to respect their individuality. And so this is a lesson that I keep in my head for the future. It's not something that I personally have had to face because my children are young, you know, but that mouse, because it's bugging me. But it is something that I am grateful that I heard, you know. And one of my biggest takeaways from hers was she said, you can feel whatever you got to feel. Don't stay in that. You know, something goes wrong, you know, get it out of your system, but you got to then get in your wheelhouse, is how she said it. Think about, like, who do you know that could do this? Who do you know that could do that? Like, pivot. And remember what you've been through, what you've gone through, and know that you got this. And so just her attitude of really truly believing in herself. I mean, and homegirl ran, okay, guys. What was it? The Amazing Race. Like, I think it was the first season. So she's like, she really does believe in herself. And I found that awesome, like amazing, because I am someone who sometimes struggles with that. So I'm glad that I heard her advice. Those are my takeaways from what she said. So Margarita, thank you for teaching me your lessons that I can implement in the future. Okay. September, a veteran's take on honor. Dustin didn't think about honor the way that you presented it until I heard it from you. Like, listening to your grandfather's stories is an honor. You're honoring them. You're representing them, carrying the legacy. Raking leaves is showing honor. Like, I don't know, to me, honor was an idea, but you taught me that honor is action. And so, like, I was mind blown. And okay, so Dustin, let's do this. A veteran's take on honor.
You know, I look at it as there's kind of three parts, and I'm taking experiences from Afghanistan, taking experiences from my daughter, and then from and working in the field that I work in now. It's kind of two things. It's innocence and inclusion. Mm-hmm. So especially with kids nowadays, I mean, with everything going on in the world, there's a lot of just uncertainty. There's a lot of, you know, upendedness. You know, things are just constantly changing with, you know, health concerns or, you know, social environment type stuff. It's very awesome to see kids, whether it's here stateside or in a third world country like Afghanistan, just being a kid, you know, playing, kicking a soccer ball around, going outside and playing tag and having fun, just enjoying that. And the other part of that is inclusion. You're just sitting there and you don't, you know, good things can be learned from being around other people and bad things can be learned. And, you know, inclusion is so important. You know, you look at kids that just may come from two different ways of life. And when they play together on a playground, they just kind of forget about all that. And that's just a wonderful, beautiful thing. And I think it's something.
I agree. When he described kids in the third world country, so Afghanistan, that they were just kids there. And when you look about how divisive, I don't know, however you pronounce that, we are as a nation or whatever, but then you see kids just playing in the playground. You know, they have that natural inclination to just be, like, present, just be kids. Again, another ringing theme if you've seen it, but I do remember my husband and Dustin are best friends. So, but my husband was in Iraq, and he talked about the Iraqi children all the time, like, loved them. You know, they were just kids. And I don't know, there's something really, really beautiful about that. So that was September. So that's Dustin, Soldier's Take on Honor. And October. It's very fitting, Ariel. Yes, you. That this is like her favorite month, okay? It's her anniversary. Like, Halloween is her thing. So, like, it's very fitting that you and I got to talk about your mentor's moment in October. So Ariel, and I'll tell you this, I mean, I love her to death. When I told you like building my team, Ariel is monumentous to my team, like monumentous. Like she helps me keep my head straight like no tomorrow. Like Ariel, I value you so much just for what you do on the flip side and what you do as my friend. And seeing your path with the children, because she's a guardian ad litem. So this is, I think, a guardian's take on advocacy. And so she's also a teacher's aide. And so she talks about her classroom kids. And it was really just a beautiful interview in all. And so enough saying how amazing she is. Video time.
I think the biggest lesson that I've learned personally just from this year working with kids is to live in the moment.
Yeah.
And, you know, like I'm especially guilty of this, like living in the past or looking too much to the future. Like I really did not take the time to just like be present and enjoy my surroundings and enjoy the people that I was with, because you're always thinking about, okay, when I get home I gotta do this, or tomorrow I gotta do this, or the load of laundry. And you know, just like with the wheels, you know, the little scooters, like I lived in the moment. It was like the best time I've had, you know. But you know, once I started living in the moment, like I could tell the kids started picking up on that.
Yeah. Oh, I love it. So that's cool.
Well, I guess I should have like rewinded it just a bit, but before she was telling this amazing story about just like the freedom that the kids have and like her being able to play with them and just be a part of that freedom with them was her favorite thing about the children. And so what she learns is the presence of it all, you know, just be in the moment, enjoy. Like that's the freedom of kids, which doesn't that coincide with Dustin's? Also, super shout out to her because number one, she was my first video back from COVID. All right. Number two, it took a lot. Like we met in a coffee spot and then boom, so loud. Then we went to a quiet restaurant. Boom, it got crazy. And so this was like our third or fourth time, like, okay, we're gonna get this somewhere. And we just did it in her car. Like, so it wasn't the best, like, I would say like visually, I guess, but like it's just so real, you know? Like sometimes you just gotta adapt. And the last video wraps up with Evelise, who is founder of Hands of Hope of America, which is a resource center. They give food, they help clothes, they just do so much for the community. Like it's amazing. And I say in this, like, it's her and her mom, you know what I mean? Like, how inspiring is that? Like, it's her and her mom that are doing, like, they're reaching hundreds of people across counties. It's just her and her mom because they can and they do. And like, it inspires me personally because I, for the flip side, and been like, well, what qualifies you? You know, I'm just a mom. But Evelise and her mom, it's just a mom and a daughter working together, creating these amazing things. So if you care and you're willing to put work behind that passion, you can do anything. You truly can. So to see the great works that they do, knowing the beginnings is like just like mind blowing. Like I can't. It's such an inspiration to me that, okay, I can do it too, you know, and I'm just a mom, but I am a mom that cares. And I'm for darn sure willing to put the work in. And doing that, again, Flipside Mentorship, changing tomorrow today, because that's what it's all about. But anyways, let me get this video rolling.
The biggest lesson a child has taught me is unconditional love.
Oh, yes.
Unconditional love. They love you regardless, whether you jack up, I can say that on here, whether, you know, you're having a bad day, they look at you the same way. They love you regardless. You are their idol. But I don't have no kids, but as a titi to two beautiful kids, a niece and a nephew, man, unconditional love is the biggest lesson.
Yes. I love it. Oh, that was the perfect way to end it. That really was the perfect way to end it. Like the whole series though, like the whole year is the unconditional love. Like I felt that, you know, my sons, I'm not perfect, you know, sometimes I make mistakes. I make mistakes as a person. I make mistakes as a boss, you know, a self-employed person, a regular person, and a mom. And my kids love me, you know, they love me. Even when I'm unlovable, they love me. And I want to protect that, you know, because I love them with the bottom of my heart. So thank you guys. Oh God, I'm getting teary-eyed again. Don't cry for me, Argentina. Thank you so much for watching and being a part of my Mentors Moments. I hope this year taught you a lot. It definitely taught me. Next year, changing the format a little bit, less what's it called? Interview and more conversation, because like what I stopped liking, like I've thought, karate instructors, you know, what you call it on discipline, a coach's tips on confidence. But I started feeling like I was pigeonholing them, you know, like it got harder and harder for me to make up titles about what the subject would be, because I felt like I was like keeping them in a little box of teachers, what you call it on patience. Like, no, let's just talk about patience, right? Like anybody that I interview, if somebody's going to be involved with kids, you know, I'm not just interviewing any willy-nilly. I'm interviewing like people who work with children, like, but they're more than that, you know? So even like the last one was like, outreach founders thing on community. Like, let's just talk about community, you know? So that is a big change that I will be doing for 2021. Again, thank you so much for my, every time I think about the end of the year, for watching this, being a part. If you ever left an encouraging comment, a word, shared it, liked it, thank you. It has kept me going when I have wanted to give up. And I just appreciate you. So if you watched to the end, you know, like I was like, oh, thank you, mentor. But like, thank you for being here. It means the world. And I hope we can change the world together. So 2021 January, I've got my first interview lined up, and I think this is going to be so good. It is mental toughness, and that's the only sneak peek you're getting from me. All right, guys, till next year.